It wasn't bad. Yeah, it wasn't a bad Saturday night. It was special. It's a nice little start to my career here. Like, obviously we had a good upbringing. It was a madhouse, but they always pushed. My dad in particular always pushed education. It was always ahead of sport. I think he would probably describe it as drive, like to instill a little bit of drive within no matter what you're doing. But in particular in Donegal, in rural Donegal, it's more Gaelic football. Yeah, no, Gaelic football was probably my first love. Yeah, but you're allowed to play everything, which is important. Late enough developer as well. I wasn't overly good. Like, I didn't play at a high standard until I was maybe 16 or 17. But just done my final exams, my school exams. They offered me a contract, but I decided to go to UCD. So I turned down the contract and went to UCD instead. Like, it's a prestigious enough university. It's not a sports university or whatever, so it's a difficult enough university to get into. But they've somehow incorporated this soccer model within it. And I would imagine a lot of players do kind of struggle with that when it comes to them, like, say when things don't go well in football, they have that their identity is tied to their self-worth as a footballer. Like, but luckily enough, I always had that little bit of divide. Football doesn't define, you know what I mean, who you are. Like, I think it's important to have something, even if it's just a distraction. But even if you have made a load of money, what are they going to do when they had 40? Like, you know, for the next 20 years, you're just going to sit about. Yeah, well, I did have a couple of good seasons and scored a few goals, and it made me think, all right, maybe I could. But it was always, maybe for a couple of years I could give football a go. Their resources are limited. The club came from the brink of kind of bankruptcy a few years ago and they had to start from scratch. His kind of ideology was how they can create an identity within the club and within the community. They've loads of different campaigns around climate and refugees and homelessness, and the club's massively successful now. They've sold out their season tickets. They can't take on any more fans, and you'll always get backlash. I know Bose did from fans saying, we don't need a climate justice officer, we need a striker. Yeah, football's powerful. Like, there's nearly 1.2 or 1.3 billion people for clubs passionately around the world, like, which is mad. If you can use that as a vehicle to create more awareness around sustainability or any kind of important issues, it should be used. It's going to be a huge issue. It's going to affect everyone now in the next 20, 30, 40 years. And my idea was essentially that I need to be looking ahead, what do I want to be doing, where do I want to be working in come 20 years time. Like, now, the lads are great. The gaffer went there, Paul Warren, he kind of signs players that are a certain type of personality, I feel. And I've just been lucky. Jeez, I've been lucky that I grew up in the environment that I did. At 18, even at 20, 21, I didn't think I'd ever play at this level.